Happy Sunday, everyone. Join me for a quick garden tour before this rain comes in. As always, this is my small backyard garden. Since the last update, there has definitely been a lot of growth on the Kentucky Wonder green beans. They are, at least got a couple that are pretty much at the top of the trellis, and they'll start filling in real soon and getting really dense. Still no flowers on these, but thankfully the Japanese beetles also haven't come in yet, so that's good. Off to the side of the green beans is the first area of squash that is absolutely exploded with growth. I've been harvesting off this almost daily now. It's been doing really well. I did see some squash vine borer moths. Did spray with neem oil and BT. Try to get ahead of that, and then I went through and hand-picked off every egg I could possibly find. I did treat the soil with beneficial nematodes a couple weeks ago. Hopefully that'll help anything that overwintered in the ground. But we're gonna see how this year presents, because it's already been kind of a rough pest season and fighting spider mites and aphids on top of everything else. Now, I don't know what happened here. That was a melon. I believe that was a honeydew. Also had one over there. They just suddenly died and rotted at the base. So I did sow some new seeds, and they've started germinating. So hopefully I can salvage my melons. Thankfully it's still pretty early in the season, so I have plenty of time to grow those. My banana peppers are finally starting to put on some growth. I have found some aphids on this one, but surprisingly only on this banana pepper plant. They haven't gone to any of the random cauliflower that I have in there, or the eggplant, which is finally also putting on size. And for this bed of squash, I've been harvesting a little bit out here, but it's been a little bit slower than the crookneck squash, Patterson's white, scallop squash, but they are coming. Let's get slightly less sun than the other bed. It's still considered full sun. That's a lemon squash that I've never tried before. It's really slow to mature, the squash so far. I haven't actually harvested anything off of it. That one's been there for a couple weeks now and really doesn't seem to be getting any bigger. Over here I have the remnants of my lettuce after I've pretty much harvested them down. We're still having some cool nights, so you can see some new growth up in here. I might be able to harvest a little bit more off of these before the heat gets them. And my cauliflower, I have a sneaking suspicion that these are not going to head up for me. It's just going to get too hot too fast. I've had a very warm spring so far. As for my 8-ball zucchini, these are actually producing really well. I was deceived the other day. I picked one and was almost convinced I had a watermelon. It looked exactly like a sugar baby watermelon. I like to slice these up and turn them into zucchini chips, dehydrate them with a little bit of seasoning. That nice round shape gives them a perfect chip size. And for my tomatoes, as a reminder, I usually only grow the cherry style tomatoes, these smaller ones. I'm not a huge fan of the slicers, just I like them on sandwiches, but that's probably the only time I'm going to eat them. So since I have limited space, I will just grow the ones that I will actually snack on and add in random foods whenever I feel like it. Now, nothing has ripened yet, but I do have some real good clusters coming in here. These are all going to be yellow and golden varieties of tomatoes. a few more clusters in there. And then that teeny tiny thing down there is a very behind Tidy Treats red cherry tomato. The starter plant, well, the seed that I started when I planted it out here didn't do too well. I don't know if something got to it or if I just didn't hurt it off long enough, but had to restart it, direct sowed into the garden, so it's still catching up. And we have the Black Beauty zucchini. I've been harvesting off these pretty readily as well. Plants are looking a little bit empty because I just harvested a whole bunch and brought them to my friend and my mother-in-law and cooked a bunch up myself. Due to the small size of my garden, I have found creative ways to grow things that climb. These are some peas that I have trained to grow outside the fencing I have around my garden and just climb the chicken wire. Though I've been having some serious aphid issues on these things, but only on the peas. They haven't extended to the squash that are directly behind it on either side of my garden bed, and I do have squash behind all my peas and tomatoes behind the ones on the other side of the garden bed. But for the most part, I've just been brushing them off. I think I'm finally getting ahead of them. I haven't actually seen any today. But yeah, we're almost ready to harvest some of these. They are shelling peas, so they'll get nice and plump before I crack them open. And these are some more peas on the other side of my garden bed, directly in front of the tomatoes. Again, they keep getting aphids, but I brush them off and haven't seen any today. Now, this set hasn't started flowering yet, but it is in a shadier part of the garden in hopes that once it gets real hot out, it won't slow these down or damage them. They're a little bit more protected here. Now, this is my second backyard garden bed that I put together this year. A little garden expansion, one of the only other places in my backyard that does get full sun, not blocked out by the fences or the houses around us. First off is my ridge gourd, which is finally starting to put on some size, and I'm trying to get trained up this trellis, but it really just wants to climb the little barrier around it. And sweet potato vines are putting on some size. I'll have to train these up the trellis here in a bit. I did plant a few more that finally rooted. Corn is putting on some good size. I'll likely be fertilizing it here in the next few days to a week. Really pricked up since the last fertilized. And the sugar baby watermelon. Added some nitrogen-rich fertilizer around that about a week and a half ago, and it's really picked up its growth rate. I'm going to try to get this trained up the trellis. We'll see how that goes, but I'm pushing it for space regardless. Now this is loofah, which last time I took a video on, it's only about that high. So it's definitely put on size now that we've got some warmer nights as well. Let me tell you, these little tendrils, I've never had a plant that had such grippy tendrils. These things are strong. So I don't think we'll have an issue with this getting knocked over in the wind. Some of the random sunflowers I planted have sprouted. These are going to get very large. They're going to probably be around the 12 to 15 foot mark, and I have them scattered all over my garden. Well, the wind's starting to pick up here. I'm going to take you over to the front yard and go over some of the garden items that are up there that I've managed to sneak past my HOA. Got chocolate cherry sunflowers lining the walkway to my house. Those are going to be absolutely gorgeous when they get big enough to bloom. My artichoke is miraculously still alive. This is the longest I've been able to keep one living since I've been trying this. This is a purple variety. I, for the life of me, cannot remember the name of it. but I've never had luck with the green globe, so this seems to be treating me a little bit better. And over here, sorry for the mole buzzer, I'm not actually sure if they work, but it's worth a shot. This is the orange tender sweet watermelon. I'm just gonna let it sprawl through my front flower bed. I managed to do that last year with honeydew, and the HOA was none the wiser, so hopefully I'll get some good fruit off this. Another sunflower that I just planted randomly. Pomegranate is putting on some nice flowers. None of the flowers are sticking around to turn into fruit, but it's so tiny that I didn't expect anything to come of it. But at least it's pretty. The dormant red raspberries. Oh, do I have a little friend there? Oh, hold on, little bee. Little bee. But they are setting fruit and flowering. I'm gonna have to cover this with some bird netting soon. I had to do those with my other raspberries who are a little further than these. They've already started putting out fruit and the fruit is starting to ripen. Now this is something I was very excited to see. With our winter freeze around Christmas, I thought these were goners. These are Siam tulips and flaming torch ginger, I believe. They are more tropical than my zone 8B. So when we got that freeze that froze the ground solid, I thought they were goners, but they're surprising me and I'm starting to get more sprouts up, which I'm very, very happy about, because that one in the back in particular is absolutely stunning. It is this fiery red orange that reminds me a lot of a shampoo ginger, only with an open flower instead of a pine cone. Flowers are looking as lovely as ever. Hoping the rain comes tonight. They've been predicting rain for a while, but it hasn't actually come in, and well, we need it. Oh, hey little guy, you're new. I love these ice plants. They're so pretty and so easy to maintain, and clearly they spread. Disappointment plant. At least it's pretty. It was supposed to be citronella. Well, at least that's what the seed packet said. Clearly not citronella. These are my heritage red raspberries. I did get that bird netting up because they were already getting to it. But now I'm questioning if they're actually heritage red raspberries. This is the first year I'm going to get fruit on them. Let's see if I can find that berry I was looking at before. But it is not red. Usually when red raspberries start to ripen, they blush pink, not yellow. So I'm thinking they might have been mislabeled. Also had to add some bird netting to my blueberry plants, but I am happy to say that I have officially gotten the very first berries off of my pink lemonade blueberry bush. And let me tell you, I don't think I've ever had a blueberry so juicy and so sweet. I highly, highly recommend the pink lemonade variety. They don't get blue, they get bright pink. I don't see any almost ripe on here right now. I did pick them earlier here. Not too many berries because the frost did do them in, and these are still very, very young plants. Oh, come on, focus. But at least I did get to try them this year. And this is your more classic blueberry. I can't remember the variety to save my life. I'll have to look it up next time I make a tour of the garden. But we do have berries on here, and I have been harvesting them for 2 days now. I did have to cover this in bird netting because I would have gotten berries a lot sooner if it weren't for the cowbirds who like to decimate everything I care about. And then last but not least, the ever-giving strawberry tower. I'm still harvesting on this every single day. I would take a peek into the pockets, but I know there's really nothing ripe because I came in here this morning and grabbed them to put with my breakfast. Thank you for joining me on my second ever garden tour. I'll see you next time.